When you're entertaining, you want to put a show-stopping dessert on the table. I'm going to show you one that's really easy to make. This is a fun twist on Pavlova. Instead of the usual round shape, it's spread all over the tray and then broken into pieces to serve. So, no need to worry about it cracking. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can serve up your smashed pav. You can turn it into a trifle. You can even serve it eat and mess style. Today, I'm going to show you how to serve it on a tray with some beautiful peaches and mascarpone. To get the oven ready, make sure the rack is sitting in the center and then preheat the oven to 150 Celsius, or if you're using fan forced, 130. Grab a large baking tray with a rim just like this one and then line it with baking paper. I've fitted my stand mixer with the whisk attachment and I'm going to beat the egg whites until they're nice and foamy. At this point, you start gradually adding your sugar. So just a little bit to start, and then you just slowly keep adding them. Once you've got them all incorporated, you're going to need to mix it for about 10 minutes on a high speed. Now you do have to make sure all the sugar's dissolved. If you've ever seen the droplets on the outside of a Pavlova, that's known as weeping, and that happens because all the sugar hasn't been dissolved properly. So make sure you beat it really well. Now you can see that the peaks are formed in the egg whites and they're looking really firm and glossy. Time to beat in the vinegar, the vanilla, and the salt. Now for the corn flour. Now I'm not going to beat this straight in, otherwise it'll knock all the air out of the meringue. So be gentle. Make sure that you sift it over first and then you gently fold it through. You've done such a good job of incorporating all that air into your egg whites. Make sure you don't knock it back out. So be gentle with your corn flour, sift it first, and then just using a spatula, go from the bottom to the top and just fold it all through. This is called the underhand folding technique. Gorgeous. Now to keep as much air as possible, I'm just going to gently spoon this beautiful meringue onto the tray. Then using an offset spatula or a palette knife, what I'm going to do is evenly spread the meringue to cover the tray. So you want a nice even layer. It doesn't have to be perfect though. Delicious. That's it. It's ready to bake. As soon as it goes into the oven, you need to turn the oven down to 105 Celsius. If you're using fan forced, 85. Now it is important that you don't take the meringue straight out of the oven while it's warm. The sudden change in temperature is what causes it to crack. Turn off your oven completely and then grab a wooden spoon and use that to prop open the door. That way the heat will release ever so slightly and then leave the meringue in the oven for 30 minutes so it cools down slowly. After 30 minutes you can remove the wooden spoon and take the pav out completely. Now you want to give it a good hour to let it totally come down to room temperature. Now once your pav has cooled down completely, you need to get it off the paper without breaking it out. So grab your palette knife and just go around the edges and just make sure that you're loosening it up, just like that. And then another little trick is to take a second tray, stick it over the top, because you're going to invert it like this. You take off that top tray and then just gently peel the paper off. Then, of course, you want to flip it back over. So take your tray back and give it another flip. And hey, presto, looks pretty good, right? Now, if you're making this ahead of time, you could wrap the whole Pavlova nice and tightly in plastic wrap and keep it in a cool place for up to a day. For the peaches, I'm using white peaches and yellow peaches to give you a mixture of colours and also flavours. Now, if you wanted a different flavour, you can use any seasonal fruit for this, such as cherries or mangoes. Cut them into wedges, then what I'm going to do is throw them into a large bowl, add some sugar, a little lemon zest, and some lemon juice. Give them a stir or a gentle toss, and wait for those juices to form. Now you'll let the peaches macerate for about 30 minutes. Once those juices start to form, you're ready to go. You can just occasionally stir them. To make the raspberry sauce, it couldn't be simpler. You put the raspberries and you puree them in a blender with a little bit of sugar. That's it. You blend it for just a minute, then you remove the lid. Pour the raspberry puree into a strainer like this. And using the back of a spoon, you just push it on through, leaving all of the seeds behind. So you pop that in the fridge and let it cool. Then you come back over here and you beat the mascarpone and the cream using a handheld beater. So you just pop both of those two things into a large bowl and you whisk. Okay, so you're going to whisk this cream until stiff peaks form, but you don't want to overbeat the cream. So just make sure you stop regularly and check in on it. If you beat it too hard, it's going to end up a little dry. Now, if you're super organised, you can make your peach mixture, your raspberry sauce, and of course your mascarpone cream up to 2 hours ahead and then store it all in the fridge. If you do that, you might need to re-whip the cream before, so just make sure you check it before you start spooning it on. Now for the fun part. You gently lift up one corner of your pav and you're going to break it into large pieces like this. Just lay it on a tray. You want those sort of crisp outside pieces and then those beautiful soft marshmallowy pieces on the inside, just like that. I kind of like it when it's overlapping a little bit too in shape. It's okay, no one saw that. Then what you do is get your beautiful mascarpone mixture, spoon it over the top. I kind of do it in nice big dollops, just like this. Gorgeous. Then you take those gorgeous peaches. I drizzle just a little bit of that juice from the peaches over because it's got a really wonderful flavour. Not too much because you don't want it to get soggy. And then, of course, the raspberry sauce. Again, I just add a little of this for colour and then you can spoon more on at the table, straight onto people's plates. So I finish it with a few thyme leaves and a little bit of fresh lemon zest. I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty beautiful. That's it. It's my peach and mascarpone smashed pavlova. Give it a go. It's an absolute showstopper. For more great entertaining recipes, head to our show-stopping desserts playlist.